Warning. We are not journalists. We are not players. We aren't even in a union. We simply love the Premier League and happen to live in America. We are not experts. We will say dumb shit. Thank you and welcome to Premerica.
This is Unai Emery, aka Dracula. You're listening to Premerica.
And we are back, baby. Hello and welcome back to Premerica. I'm your host, Mike Weinberg, joined by my friends Michael Lieberman and Sam Thomas. Premerica is your virtual pub for all things Premier League right here in America. We talk a little shop, we talk a little shit, and we keep you up to date on all the things happening in the best league in the world. So grab your friends, let's talk Prem. Guys, today is May 15th. That means we are 9 days from the end of the Prem season, and we are 15 days from the Champions League final, which means we are pretty much at the very end of the professional football season outside of course, the World Cup, which is on the horizon. So we still have some things to play for. Arsenal City are still tight. The Champions League spot, is it 5? Is it 4? Is it 6? It's 5. Is it 6? I don't know. There is a lot still going on. Interesting times. How are we feeling? I know, Sam, you and I are more in a similar bucket than Michael, who is waiting to potentially raise that trophy for the first time in 20 years, and there is still a couple interesting games to play. Let's do a quick vibe check. Sam, vibe check. How are you vibing? All right, we know from that. Michael, how are you vibing?
Yeah, I mean, good, dude. You know, we got it all to play for. You know, I'm in a good space. And I think, you know, getting past West Ham was huge, and we'll see what the rest of the season brings.
And for the listener, I would just like to just make sure you're aware of the fact that after Arsenal lost to City, Michael said, "I'm done," in a text to us.
I was
He
a puddle on
stomped
the
his
floor.
feet and he sat in a corner and cried himself to sleep.
I
And
had
when
a full-on Tempe tantrum. Yeah.
And look where we're at. Look where we're at. So, you know, as the Michael roller coaster continues to steam, we continue to be a part of the journey. We ride the ride with our boy. Oh, thanks guys for asking. Yeah, what's my vibe?
Hey, Mike, how's Chelsea doing?
Well, we got the FA Cup final tomorrow, which is like,
That's sweet.
you know, I
Trophy.
guess it's something which we'll probably get.
You also
that's
you found a team bad enough to let you not only score a goal but draw and get a point. Just that team happened to be Liverpool, but that's
true.
exciting.
That is true. That is true. And there is a lot of talk about our manager, and all the names that are on the list seem to be pretty decent names. There seems to be a bit of a tail between the legs with the uppers at Chelsea at this point. I don't know if that's true or not, but everything I'm reading and hearing seems to be that they've realized that they've been fucking a joke. So it does seem like maybe, just maybe, there's some brighter horizons for us coming up. And Xabi Alonso seems to be the leading target right now, and apparently they're in talks. So we'll see. Thoughts on that? Any comment? I know we texted a little bit about it.
I think that would be an excellent hire for Chelsea. I think that he would add some much needed structure to the team, and like if was actually given the reins and like was told like, okay, you have 2 years, like build this into your team, I think it would end up being the right choice for Chelsea. So I hope you guys didn't hire Xabi Alonso, basically.
Sam?
Yes, but I think you might hope that they do, because if they do, that means that we're not. And I think that's most true. That's honestly the more pressing thing, is just that like that would be, at the end of the day, I don't know why, like it appears that the massive disconnect between Liverpool's fan base and the front office is going to continue all summer, because it appears that they are going to let Slot stay, which, you know, I know not the topic for today's pod, but it just makes no sense, because anybody that watches football just knows that the style of play of Liverpool over the last year and a half has just been really bad. It's not just the results, style of play. But if Chelsea can come out of this with getting Xabi Alonso, it's a huge coup, because 2 years ago he was the top manager on the market, and then all that happened was he went to Real Madrid and they fired him too early because Real Madrid is a Real Madrid. And And Real Madrid is now 2 straight years without winning a single major trophy. That's like the worst spell I can ever remember
And
them
they're
having.
also this close to pushing the Jose Mourinho button again and bringing Jose back, which is just pure entertainment for all, frankly.
Yeah, they also, it was pretty funny. They benched Mbappe, and then
I saw
Mbappe in
that.
his presser was like, "Yeah, the manager
wing.
told me I'm the 4th best forward on a team." And the manager was like, "I obviously didn't say that."
yeah. Just like literally, there's just like
It's just this shit stir.
So that's all pretty funny. Yeah, no, if Chelsea is Xabi Alonso, I think the sentiment around the Premier League will be Liverpool fans will be quite upset about that. I think Arsenal and City fans will ultimately be pleased because it means that Liverpool is sticking with slot, which realistically means Liverpool won't be a title contender next year as well, which is difficult to say. But if they stick with slot, he's not capable of winning the title. So I think it'll be a complicated set of emotions if this happens. But from a Chelsea perspective, I think you guys would be thrilled.
Which let's take a step back. That's crazy. It's because I agree with you, but that's crazy considering he won it last year. You know what I mean? Like it is just a wild
this is the
events.
shit that just like can't. It's like I'm so sick of Arsenal fans and Man United fans and coming out and saying this stuff because like it's just you haven't watched enough Liverpool, or you have.
No, I have, and I agree with you. I'm saying I agree with you. It's just wild
like
that's where we're at.
I don't think it's attack. I think it's just saying it's like it's crazy to have.
No,
I'm not trying to attack you.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, and I'm not saying Michael, I'm saying across the media sphere, all of these Arsenal and Man United pundits and ex-players are saying the same thing. It's like, it's crazy because he won the league last year. It's like, it doesn't matter. He won the league last year because for 2/3 of the season, he took Klopp's team and made one tweak that made them really good to play against. And then once that got figured out, for now over a year and almost a year and a half, they've been really bad.
Yeah.
And they've been really bad, and they added the most money in the history of the Premier League to the team, and they got substantially worse. So like, it's not his reign is not impressive at all. So it's just it's a totally different thing.
Yes. No, I think it's crazy that in the sport like that, this is what can happen. I think is what he meant. I agree. It's crazy how a team can win it, can have all of that, can do everything. You're right, and then be worse. I think only in a sport like this does that happen in this way. Like, look at the Dodgers. Look at the Dodgers. They keep adding and they keep getting better. Like,
no, I think that's true, and it's also it also goes to the like the game within the game of the when you are one of these top 6 clubs, like just the expectations of the fan bases are pretty much to win it every year, and then once you do win it, if you then add the expectations to it again, but it's just really difficult because like this, I mean, let's get into it because this is the first thing I was gonna say.
This is the perfect segue. Go for it.
It's like my whole point on because I was watching the second half of the Arsenal match, the Arsenal West Ham match, and then I was watching the highlights of the City. Sorry, who did they just beat 3-0?
Palace.
The City Palace match. I'm watching the extended highlights, and I had the thought. I was like, this is why this league is so difficult. Is that it is just this series of fine margins across the entire season that just add up. And so, because originally, I'll start with this. Originally, the idea came to me when Michael, after the Arsenal West Ham match, you were like incessant on wondering my opinion on do I think it was a foul or not. And I'm like, you're missing the point, because yes, it was a foul, but that's not why Arsenal won the match. Arsenal won the match because there were like 5 of these little moments over the course of the match. The one-on-one save with Raya, Gabby's back-footed like clearance off the line to save a goal from Callum Wilson like 5 minutes after that, but then also Arsenal in the first 10 minutes had West Ham cleared one off the line. They hit the post on a corner header, and then they had a about 20-30 minute spell in the second half where they kind of looked very wobbly, and then they got a deflection goal. Those are 5 little knife edge moments, and at the end of the day, those knife edge moments went 3 for Arsenal, 2 for West Ham, and one of them resulted in a goal. And it's like the season is just these add-ups of all of these things. And then I had the second thought when I was watching the highlights of the City Palace match, because I missed the match live, saw the score, saw that it was 3-0. And of course, I'm like, oh, well, no fine margins there. City just dominated. And then I watched the extended highlights, and the first 15 minutes, Palace had the 3 best chances. They had a marginally offsides goal that was called back because Brendan Johnson was just as much offsides. Then they had their own center back clearance off the line. All of this happened in the first 15 minutes before they then went on to score these 3 goals. And so, like, you look at it, 3-0 domination, but it's like, no, if any of those little inch wide moments don't happen in the first 15 minutes, if City goes a goal down at home against Palace, like, it's a completely different thing. And so, I think the coolest thing about this sport has to be that because there's no playoffs, because every team plays the same schedule, at the end of the season, it's just whoever has won more of these micro moments is the team that wins the league. And
especially because it's a low scoring sport. One goal wins a game a lot of the times, right? So it's like these, You're totally right. I mean, these little fine margins ultimately are what sort of dictate the season. And yeah, you can take issue with one little moment over the next little moment or whatever, but like the wider point is absolutely spot on, that it's like, but that's what's beautiful about the sport. And especially that every single game matters because there is no playoff. So it's like those little fine margins end up adding up, and wherever you're at the end of the season, like if you're within shooting distance of your ultimate goal for the season, like a lot of times it does come down to these little fine margins one way or another, who gets the trophy and who, ends up,
But I think my whole clarification is that, because I agree with all that, my broader point, and then you're going to watch how I cleverly link this to one of Sam's 3 things that he hates about the league.
Yeah.
My whole point is that you can't take issue with a singular moment if it goes for your team or against your team. Like, if Arsenal hadn't gotten that foul awarded and they would have drawn 0-0, I don't want to hear it. Just the same way I don't want to hear that Arsenal did get the foul rewarded and won 1-0, because it is one of 500 moments that happened just in that match alone over the course of 38 other matches. This then, watch this, is why I don't like VAR, because it doesn't matter. You don't need to get every individual thing right. There are hundreds of thousands of these moments. Like, I'll give you a different example. Like when people complain about like a penalty should have been called or should have been not. There were also 50 other incidents that happened in whatever match that is that were on a knife's edge to leading to a goal or not. So like the beauty of this sport is the purity that you just sit back and look at the end of the 38 match season, and there is no, the individual moments, you can't fixate on them. It's just it's a wrong way of thinking about it.
It's an interesting conversation to have around just like VAR in general. Like, is it the good outweigh the bad? Is the bad outweigh the good? And in general, I think I do sort of agree with you. Like, obviously it helped us this specific instance, but like in general, like, is it worth having to pause that excitement you get when a ball goes into the net to validate that it's real, or it's not offsides or whatever? Is that pause of that excitement worth, making sure it's 100% right? And even then, they don't always get it right, is what it feels like. So
it's the last thing I'll say, and then Weinberg, I'm just curious to get your thoughts about all of this, but like I saw like some clickbait headline that it was like Arsenal, if no VAR, Arsenal has benefited like second most of any team from VAR this year or whatever, like was the clickbait headline. It's like, all right, cool. Like, it's just a irrelevant thing, because it's just there's, to have a VAR moment happen, it's as random as injuries, it's as random as anything. It's just like a factor, and it's just like you have like the West Ham moment. Yes, Arsenal benefited from VAR there, but also they benefited from VAR because David Raya was strong enough to go in for the ball and strong enough to stay tall enough that he did get fouled and had his arm pulled down, and the rest of the Arsenal players were like crumbing in and scrunging in. Like, to get the VAR call to go their way, they also needed to be putting themselves in the position to get the call. So it's just like, it's this whole thing. I just think it's my main thing is that individualized focus on these individual moments is just the wrong way to think about it. And that's why I got it started to think about that when you were texting. You were just like incessantly, what do I think about the foul? It's not about that. I think that at the end of the day, you can't fix it.
But I hear that. But you also were just saying that it's a game of fine margins. So that's basically saying that there's such an important on those fine moments, right? So it's like, I agree with both points, right? Where it's like, I don't really think that VAR should exist, but it does. And it feels like it's like Pandora's box. It's been opened. It's here now. And we just got to deal with the ramifications of that. And then there's also like, it is a game of fine margins. And like, there's been the past 3 seasons, the fine margins have not gone our way. And we've ended up in second, and it's been injuries or red cards or whatever. Like, so it does sort of flush out over the course of the season. But like, it is sort of that duality of like, it is a game of fine margins, but also like, we shouldn't have VAR to make sure that those fine margins go the right way in a way. Like, I'm sure, I guess, I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle about both of those points.
Yeah, but it's because that's not what I'm basically saying is that there over the course of a season, there are 100,000 of these fine margin moments. You don't need to get everyone right because it's whatever. My thing is that it's a large enough data size that you don't need to focus specifically on each of these because everybody plays the same schedule. Everybody has to go through the same thing. And by the way, let's also add, because the league is absolutely tighter than it's ever been in terms of top to bottom. Like, I mean, you open the show by saying, I'm glad we got by West Ham. West Ham's in fucking 18th place. In what other sport would the number 1 team in the league be playing the number 18 team and be like, oh, thank God we got by them? But that was the feeling of it.
But that's also why the Premier League is the best sport in the world, because in any other league, that game doesn't fucking matter, right? Because there is no relegation, you know?
I'm gonna go ahead and jump in with some thoughts here. I've let you guys go for too long. Okay. A couple things. One, I totally agree. I think the fine margins thing is crazy. And to that point, if we are focusing on this might have been the single craziest decision that has made that this is what's given the title to one team versus the other. But that same exact thing happened some point earlier 15 times. Like there was 10 other VARs that were just as impactful in the same way earlier in the season. It's just not at the end of the season. So it's like, it's still the same cumulative total one way or another. It's just that the one we're talking about today is more impactful because it's the current time. We know where we're at. We didn't know where we'd be then. So it's just as equivalent. I think that's totally true. I still subscribe to what we talked about earlier. I think VAR would make sense in the way that American sports use it. It's actually one of the things I'm like American sports get right is like a challenge type system. I think that to me would give people the chance to say, hey, that was bullshit. Here's a chance for us to remedy that. And because the funny thing about VAR is it's not because, oh, we need to do this to make the sport better or more enjoyable. It's just because technology advanced and we at home can see every single thing that they can't see on the field. So they had to do that because then they could show 500 clips. But guess what? They're still showing 500 clips and we still can't make decisions about whether it was right or wrong.
Yeah,
so that's why I like the challenge system.
The challenge one is great because let's take the Arsenal West Ham example, because the other reason why there's no need to get all kerfluffed about this one was that you couldn't tell it live on the broadcast, but the announcer said as soon as the goal went in, David Raya immediately was complaining and saying that he got his arm pulled and got his arm and it's fouled. So that would be one where if you had the challenge system, he would be able to say, no, I'm going to challenge that. The ones that suck are the ones where the goal goes in, everybody's bringing the ball back to the center circle, and then all of a sudden it's like
well, you were half a millimeter off
4 passes before. It's like, stop it. So I think the challenge idea makes total sense.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And
I think challenge idea is the way to go. Yeah. And like you said, I think we talked about this in the previous episode. It's like you should have one challenge, and if you get the first one right, you can have another. And if you don't get the first one right, you'll lose it for the rest of the game. And so you got to be really, really calculated about when to use it. You know.
And I think it would be cool to let any person on the team initiate it, because then
especially the fans.
Then you have like the
challenge.
You have like the one player everyone hates do it, and you're like, no,
and sit down.
No, but that's why it would be that's why it would be so funny is because like you would. So it's kind of what baseball is exploring right now with you get 2 abilities to challenge balls and strikes throughout the game, and anyone can do it, either the pitcher and catcher or the batter. You get 2 combined for the whole team. Anyone can do it at any time. And same thing, like if you miss the 2, then you're done for the game. And what I've been watching that's happening is that like some of the baseball guys are like taking the challenge like in their first at bat in the first inning on like a 1-0 count, and like they lose the challenge, and clearly everybody on the team's like, all right, guy, like you really think like your at bat is that important that like you're gonna like argue this call and then you get it wrong. I equate it to like 30 minutes in, Garnacho running down the wing in a 0-0, like losing the ball, thinks he gets fouled, calling for the challenge at like the midway line, and like it not reversing.
Yeah. Even the ref's like, no, I don't think this guy. I'm not gonna listen to this guy. Like, Reese.
So it would be really fun to just let any player on the team initiate, and if you get it right, then you get another one. That would be cool. So I agree.
That's fun. Well, I think, like I said, I think there's definitely some of these things, big things happening at the end of the season are big, but also there were so many things earlier, like you said, in the earlier part of the season. So we're at the end of the title race, 2 games to go for everybody across the board. But I think the more interesting and crazier situation that's unfolding is Champions League potential 6th place, because I don't know if you saw, but Prem released like this graphic that's like a grid that shows where everyone could end up, where they are, the top place they could end, the bottom place they could end. And it's literally like there's, I think, 6 or 7 or 8 teams that still could end up in 6th or 16th. It is a huge spread of teams that could end up anywhere, including my beloved Chelsea Blues. And so talking about that and looking at what needs to happen there, it is solely firstly dependent on which I guess will happen after. No, right before. So on Wednesday, Aston Villa plays Freiburg, which we were all talking about earlier, which I guess is a German team. Sounds German. Yeah. They are in the Europa League final. If Villa beats them and ends up in fifth place, which looks potentially likely, which is also directly related to the game when Villa and Liverpool played today, which was why it makes it such a big deal for the other. Liverpool's like, don't care. 8 teams are like, Liverpool.
Hilariously,
I care more than you do.
Absolutely no interest in watching this match until, and to build off of the beauty of this like top 6 race, because you're doing a great job outlining it. I'm looking at the table now, and I gotta say, Liverpool is not mathematically in the top 5 yet still, which is crazy because after the last 2 matches, so if we lose this match and Bournemouth wins out, they would jump us, and Villa would jump us,
and Villa would win, and you'd end up in 6th,
and Villa would not be in 5th,
and
we would be out, which I honestly,
crazy.
I
wild.
Like, Liverpool needs to be in the Champions League, so that can't happen. But like, part of me is like, maybe that would be enough to get Slot fired,
out.
so it might actually be worth it.
So now I am the biggest Liverpool fan.
I don't even know who I'm rooting for today. I think you're the biggest Liverpool fan this side today. I think what I am rooting for is a disgustingly drab draw. and I think, Michael, what are you rooting for in the match today? You're rooting for Villa.
I want a Liverpool win. I want Liverpool to win. Drops and has extra, hopefully, as gets pushed by Bournemouth, and then has extra motivation at the last game of the season,
City,
so they actually try against City.
Do they play City in the last? Yeah, they do.
They play City the last game of the season, and Unai is notorious for just sort of folding that, against City.
But he's also such a folder. Like
he's also, let's be very honest, whether or not he's notorious for folding against City, which I think is a very hilarious Arsenal fan take. He will certainly be folding if it means helping City beat Arsenal.
That's exactly right. It's a double fold motivation for our boy Unai. Okay,
he will certainly be folding.
We don't play. He's forfeits.
I'm looking at the table now. There's just like a ton of these permutations, and it's crazy because like Bournemouth's the hottest team in the league recently, like in terms of what they've been doing.
16 games in a row, right, or something like that.
I mean, the only thing I don't know.
Unbeaten.
Crazy.
To be honest, I'm not rooting. I don't even know what I'm rooting for. We can't. We have to win. We have to win both matches. We have to win out, and Bournemouth has to lose out.
And
Brighton has to not get more points, and Brentford has to get more points. I don't know why I fucking care. At this point, I just want to beat Spurs because that continues to. Yeah, there's no reason. I don't even know why I fucking care. Oh God.
No, it's the interesting thing. The one thing I will say is it if Villa finishes in 5th and wins the Europa League and the Premier League gets 6 teams in, does that feel right to us, given what we've seen this year in the Champions League, which was definitely a bit of a humbling for the Premier League, Champions League. How does that sit with us?
I mean, I think it's, yeah, I guess. Go ahead, you guys.
I guess I would say it depends on which, reasoning story you subscribe to. Do you just subscribe to the Prem beats itself up, every game matters, everyone cares, and you do see that towards the end of the Champions League where, like, these other teams are resting their entire team the whole year, and meanwhile Arsenal is in a do-or-die battle for the Prem, and everyone else who is in it. Like, it starts to become this...
Yeah, let's not forget that over the past 3 match weeks, PSG literally
hasn't played
postponed their league matches.
Yeah, right. They like cheated. The leagues are like
literally pick and choose. They are like they run their league. They just do whatever
they literally
want.
just postponed the matches.
Right. They're like, nah, we don't want to play today.
I think there's truth to that. I think there is truth to that. When, by the way, then I'm watching like, two middle of the road teams scrapping in the Prem, like absolutely beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, it's actually not like scrapping, because that's the thing. It's like you watch the first. I mean, so just take the Arsenal West Ham match. Like after the first 10 minutes, which Arsenal was the better team and was dominating, West Ham then clearly went in and was like, all right, well, we're just going to start hard tackling, playing super physical, and we're going to make life as difficult as possible. And like the difference between that for 90 minutes versus just not playing your match.
Freiburg? Again.
Yes, but then the flip side of looking at it is I think my main takeaway from this year's Champions League is that at a top-to-top level, partially due to this advantage for the other leagues, sure, but just from a top-to-top level, the top teams are the top teams of the top teams, and like any one of those 5 or 6 top teams can beat any of the other top teams on their day, and it's all pretty even between Bayern, PSG, Madrid, Barcelona, Arsenal this year, has been Liverpool and City in previous years, not this year. Like that top echelon is all pretty even. But like the fact that the semifinals of the Europa League was Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest shows you that like that mid-tier of the Prem is so much better than the mid-tier of the other leagues. And for that reason, I think it's okay to have 6 Prem teams in, because 5 and 6 in the Prem are just absolutely better than
5 and 6
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Agreed. I agree.
And part of me, I was like, I heard the words come out of my mouth. I wanted to double check that I'm not just like being a classic Prem fan of like, okay, well now this argument's dead, so now we go to this argument, now we go to this argument. But this one feels
right.
It feels right.
This one feels good.
This one feels good.
This one feels comfy.
This one feels good. This one feels good.
Now watch Villa lose to Freiburg, and then none of this is relevant.
And
Literally, nothing matters. Yeah.
Or watch Arsenal do what City did to PSG in the Club World Cup and just whoop them 3-0. It's like, wait, what's going on? So
Chelsea did to PSG.
But what did I say?
You said City. Don't give it. It's the only thing I've got.
It's the only thing.
So
let me have it.
Let the man have that.
Put it on the patch. It's on the patch. Damn it!
It's all I've got. It's literally all we have.
But so this is the thing. I will like
you got the Club World Cup.
Yes.
So both those points about the Europa League final and the Champions League final, which hilarious. Yes, super juicy. We have both of those in the next week and a half. 1-game finals are different. It sort of talks everything out of the way. I think you see more over a 2-leg final of stuff like that. So finals are finals. Like those are kind of just like coin flips, which is what makes them great. But yeah, I think in general, 6 Premier League teams feels right. It wouldn't surprise me if those 6 teams, by the way, like similar to this year, like 6 of the 5 of the 8, 6 of the 6 qualify in the top 8 of the Champions League next year. Like it's just like it's just kind of one of those things. But then, yeah, I think this year is definitely it's worth noting that this year has definitely made, I think, the top boys in the Premier League swallow their pride a little bit of how good on their day the top teams in the other leagues are.
For sure. Honestly, what equated to in my head is a conversation I feel like I've had a good amount about restaurants and like comparing restaurants in Chicago to restaurants in New York. And it's like the top restaurants are the top restaurants, right? They're as good as they kind of are. It's the middle ones. And that's where New York really tends to separate itself, is that middle restaurants in New York are just better than your average middle restaurant anywhere else in like the freaking world. And that's what makes New York the best food city in the world. And that's also what makes Premier League the best league in the world.
Yeah, I actually
I
like
had the
that
same
comp because
thought.
I did not have the same thought, obviously, but the building off that thought, I actually agree, because also you could say that in New York too, the 16, 17, 18, 19, they're all very good because they have to
Yeah.
be, not get relegated. Because you've
Right.
got it, like the floor is just so much higher. Because like, dude, not to kick the man while he's holding on for dear life, but I've been following the La Liga end of the season very closely to try to be a good friend for our boy Squee
For
as
Girona.
Girona tries to stay up. And watching some of the highlights of these like Girona versus Oviedo matches, it's like, oh, this is like, it kind of looks like Sunday League, just like there's really, it's rough. Sorry, Squee, I really do
And
hope you
that's
guys
top
stay
flight.
up, but
That is top flight.
That's top flight. That's top
Yep.
flight.
Yeah, I hope they do stay
Um,
up too. I was just with Squee earlier this week.
Yeah.
We did trivia together. It was fun.
Weren't they in the
Yes.
Champions League like 2 years ago?
They
dude.
they have one of the craziest. Let me pull a foot mob in 2 seconds to do the exact, because greatest app in the world gets me exactly what I need in like 5 seconds or less.
Footmob, still waiting for that sponsorship. Please call.
Yeah, we
Our lines are open.
Right.
So
we are available.
Call waiting.
They were
ready.
Call please.
They got promoted to La Liga in the 22-23 season. They finished in 10th in their first year, which was like super impressive. And then the next year they finished in 3rd. They literally finished in 3rd in La Liga. It beyond crazy, like by far the best position ever. And then the last 2 years, 16th, and now
Potentially relegated.
Potentially relegated. By the way, I will say this on La Liga. We're talking about like how many permutations there are in the Premier League end of the season. I just want to show you guys really quick the La Liga table. 19th place in La Liga has 39 points. 19th place. 18th 39, 17th 39, 16th 40, 15th 40, 14th 42, 13th 42. There are 7 teams within 3 points of each other for the relegation drop.
Well,
and there's 2 relegation spots available. 7 teams within 3 points of each other for the relegation spots.
Well, and it's also, so I learned this from Spence this week. So credit to you, Spence. Whichever team gets relegated more than likely will break the record for La Liga having the most points while still getting relegated. Because I think it's like 40 or something like that. And likely that they'll end up at like 41 and still get relegated, which is crazy.
Yeah. So.
Well, I happen to be looking at the German league because I was looking at Freiburg. So first of all, German league has 18 teams, not 20.
Yeah.
They have 18. They still get 4 Champions League spots. Seems crazy to me.
Bullshit.
And 2 Europas and 1 conference. And looking at it, Freiburg has 44 points, who are going to play Villa in the final. Bayern has 86. They have double the points.
Yeah.
And you just think about that. That's the 1st to the 7th team. Like, that is, I mean, look at the 1st to 7th team in our league. And it's like, the 1st 7th team is Chelsea to, Arsenal right now. Like, you're talking about like
Chelsea's got to go a little bit lower.
19,
a little lower. Don't try to slide that in there.
In our minds, they're 7th. In our dreams. Oh. Well,
you had us until you tried to slide that one.
Well, yeah. Also, there's a team called One Period FC Cone. One FC. They're like, we're number 1. We're number 1 in the alphabetical standings.
Right. They do that
numerical
specifically
so they
because
start the season at the top.
match week 1.
Yeah. That's why. Yeah, that's right.
They do it that for at least one day. They're top of the league, baby.
I mean, and One FC Cone. Yeah. And they play Bayern. Good for them. All right. Well, this was a fun episode, guys. We got Exciting FA Cup tomorrow, and then we have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We've got a bunch of games. We've got the Europa League final on Wednesday, which will then determine whether it even matters at all. Half of the shit we just talked about, and then
let's not forget we have a
week-
match this afternoon that matters more to the two people whose team it isn't playing.
It's true.
than the team
It's
is
true.
playing.
Well, but we've uncovered, and this is what we do on Premerica, that it actually does matter to you somewhat, because if they lose, they're actually legitimately could be in trouble.
I'll be tuned in for sure.
So we're tuning in.
But don't worry, because Arne Slot came out in his pregame conference last week and said he knows exactly how to fix all the problems.
And he said he's still in. He was like,
"Oh, you guys think this? I got this."
What?
You thought the year and a half?
Wait, but also, Weinberg, if you're going to say, are you going to say what he said about Chelsea?
I'm going to say, I was going to say no. Well, so I'll say this and you say that. I was saying, I thought it was funny too. There's like an article. It's like Slot literally said, he's like, look, I'm in all of the conversations for the players next year, so I assume I'm still here. Like, it's like it was very funny where I was like, he's like, am I still, like, he's like, I think I'm good. And you're just like, he's openly saying that to everybody. It's very funny.
Am I good?
Yeah, that's a bit of the Dutch thing that has always struggled with Dutch managers in the Prem. It's just like, it's a little bit of that like honesty, but it's just like, it doesn't necessarily come across that well. No, his comment about Chelsea, which was this is the stuff that just really just torches him with the Liverpool fans after objectively just a horrible performance. I'm sorry, but like with the state of Chelsea right now, to draw to them at home is just absolutely embarrassing. And
agreed.
After that performance, he came out and was like, I think he goes, I think it's worth noting that we played Chelsea tougher this year than we did last year. He tried to spin cycle it as we played Chelsea tougher in the two matches this year than we did against the two matches last year, where, you know, his whole kick was like, Chelsea played us harder than anybody in the Prem last year and we beat them, but it was lucky. He tried to spin zone this as Liverpool's has looked better against Chelsea this year versus last year, as like a spin zone of process.
Like, what?
And it was like, yes, also, you know what happened? Chelsea sucks this year.
Whoa.
Sorry. That came out.
Hey, guys,
that came out too tough. I hope you know that wasn't direct. That wasn't anger directed.
We don't need a
Chelsea.
American Civil War here.
That
right?
was anger.
Calm down.
That was anger directed at Slot and his
I'm
idiocy.
I'm not looking sad and downtrodden into the corner because of you. I'm looking that way because it's been very hard to watch my team of recent.
And you know what?
Difficult.
Let's not overlook that you have a final tomorrow. And it's like we were saying about the Champions League. First and foremost, I know everyone's thinking PSG is going to smoke us, and likely they will. Everyone's thinking Man City is going to smoke you guys.
Can we quote that?
Likely they will. But it's a one game. It's a one game. You could absolutely beat them and have a trophy this year. And we, you know, who fucking knows? And then all of a sudden,
say it. Say what you're going to say.
Well, I think Chelsea could beat City.
No, I thought you were going to say. I thought the way you were starting to say that, I thought you were going to say you might have a trophy this year, and we might. I thought you were going to say you might not, and I was like, that's a wild comment to make. But no, I thought you stopped yourself.
I'm feeling good. Nothing's done yet, but we're feeling good.
Nothing's done yet. That's important. Nothing is done. Even though previously it had been stated everything was done, but nothing is done.
Well, he said he was done, and
that's
therefore
I said I was done.
That's
in looking for the nearest bridge. Okay, but like you know.
Until next time, thank you for joining, and good luck to all of the Liverpool fans today, which is a lot of us. Yay!
Up the Reds.